Here's some hump day musings while I'm on my way to court this morning. DWIs. I defend a ton of DWI cases here in the St. Louis, Missouri area. Before I go on, I want to tell you that DWI law has over the last, decades become much more strict. The blood alcohol content sort of thresholds, limits, whatever you want to call them, have been going lower and lower. When I started practicing law, the limit was 0.10. Now it's 0.08. Generally, it can be a lot less. It is a lot less for a CDL driver or someone under the age of 21. So I preface all of this information I'm about to give you with this statement. Don't drink even one drink and drive. It's not worth it. Now you think, well, I'm innocent. I haven't done anything wrong with one drink. And generally speaking, I would agree with that. However, police officers don't necessarily see it that way. Police officers make a traffic stop for whatever reason it might be, and the minute they smell alcohol, the minute they see somebody's eyes and think, oh, they're drunk, and you got to remember that's kind of a preconceived notion, then they plan on arresting you. Any police officer will tell you that when they pull somebody over and they smell alcohol or they see their eyes, whatever, and there's of course a number of different reasons your eyes might look different to those police officers, but they know they're going to arrest you, generally. So then they might say something like, oh, yeah, I understand you've only had one. Hop out of the car and let's do some tests so we can make sure that you're okay to drive. That's one of my favorite lines. Let's make sure you're okay to drive. Well, that's not real language. In fact, that's code for let me build a little bit more evidence against you so that when I arrest you, I've got a stronger case. These tests are what we call standardized field sobriety tests, and they generally involve 3 that have been quote-unquote validated by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The first one is what we call the horizontal gaze nystagmus. That's what folks call the eye test. Second one that we all often see is called the walk and turn. That's where they want you to walk a line, sometimes an imaginary line, and touch your heel to your toe after each step, something that I guarantee you none of you have ever done. Now they want you to do it on the side of a road when you're nervous. Maybe there's traffic whizzing by, to measure somehow your level of potential impairment, intoxication, whatever you want to call it. And then there's another one where they have you raise a foot and balance on one foot and count out loud. These are what I call stupid human tricks. I don't believe in the validity of them very much at all when it comes to measuring one's ability or to operate or impairment. So most people do these tests, but generally there isn't any ramification to not doing these tests. At least in Missouri, there's absolutely no ramification to saying, you know what, I don't want to do these tests. These aren't fair. These aren't anything other than my ability to demonstrate agility or balance, which in and of themselves don't mean much of anything towards this question of, is this person impaired? So then what? When you don't do those stupid human tricks, what do? Well, they're going to ask you to probably take what we call a preliminary breath test, or a portable breath tester is what some people call them. Those things can be all right, but the accuracy of them is also not necessarily perfect. The technology used in those isn't great. If you want to rely on that to, exonerate you, you go ahead. But I wouldn't. I don't think it's a good idea. It'd be like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute that you bought at a secondhand store. I wouldn't trust that parachute. I'm not jumping out. I might jump off a stairwell with it just to see, but that example didn't work. But you know what I mean. And then they're going to have to decide, well, do I want to arrest this person or do I want to let them go? And then you're going to have a police officer in a real quandary because they don't know what to do at that point. But they're probably going to arrest you, take you to the police station, and then they're going to ask you to blow again into a different type of machine that in theory is more accurate. But again, I'm not going to rely on that thing. And so hopefully you'll ask for an attorney. In Missouri, you have the right to ask for a phone call to call a lawyer to get some advice on whether or not to take that breath test. And if you do, good for you. Maybe you'll get some good advice. It's hard to say who you'll reach, on a moment's notice, but do that. And at the end of the day, maybe you'll be okay, or maybe you'll be charged with a DWI. Maybe you'll actually be 100% innocent. We see that pretty frequently. But again, back to the moral of the story. Don't drink even one beer and drive. It's just not worth it. It doesn't make sense, and it's just like playing Russian roulette. Don't do it. Take care. Have a great day.